All right, today we're going to talk about something brilliant, but also kind of weird. It's a piece of engineering called the Calendar Invite Server, and it's designed to solve a problem we all have, but it does it by being almost completely invisible. It's a really counterintuitive approach.
We've all been there, right? You get an email for an event, you click Add to Calendar, and what happens? You download this weird little file. If you're lucky, it opens the wrong calendar app. If you're not, it just sits on your phone like a useless piece of text. It's a total mess.
And that little file brings us to the big, central question of this whole thing. Why on earth would you build this incredibly powerful, modern, serverless system with a bunch of different APIs and then just hand over control of the user interface to someone else? You're just letting people use their normal Google or Outlook calendar? It just seems like a bizarre choice to make.
So, let's break it down. We're starting with a problem that is super familiar and, let's be honest, pretty frustrating for pretty much everyone.
So what exactly is this thing? Well, the Calendar Invite Server, or CIS for short, is a totally serverless system built on AWS. And for the companies that use it, it's basically delivered as a blueprint, a CloudFormation template. Think of it like a system in a box that you can install with one click to make your invites work at scale and, this is the key, actually report back on who's coming.
The specific nightmare it's designed to kill is what's known as the dual workflow. You know that moment of choice where an email asks, hey, do you want to click this sketchy calendar file that probably won't work? Or do you want to go to a whole separate website and fill out a form? It's just clunky, and the CIS is built to make that choice disappear.
Okay, so that brings us to the strategy behind all this. And honestly, it was a massive calculated bet on how people actually behave.
And this right here, this quote just says it all. The whole strategy is right there. Yeah, having your own slick custom app is nice, but being able to instantly reach a global market, that's the real prize. It's a trade-off for sure, but a very smart one.
And just how big is that market we're talking about? Over 1 billion, with a B. That's how many people are actively using clients like Google Calendar and Outlook around the world. So by not building their own UI, the CIS gets to plug directly into this enormous existing network. That number alone pretty much justifies the whole strategy.
And this table just breaks down the genius of it. With a custom UI, your users have to learn a whole new thing. But when you use their existing calendar, the learning curve is zero. Then think about localization, translating your app into dozens of languages. It's a total nightmare. But by piggybacking on Google and Microsoft, poof, problem solved. They've already done all that work for you. Okay, so we totally get the why now. So let's get into the fun part, the how. We're going to look inside the technical guts of this thing, which they call the sticky pipeline. It's called sticky because it's designed to make sure that event info sticks around and never gets out of sync.
So here's the most elegant part, I think. The front door to this whole complicated system, it isn't a line of code or some complex API call. It's just an email address. That's it. An event organizer just adds a special email address to their invite, just like they're inviting another person. That simple action kicks the whole thing off.
Now, the one piece of data that makes this whole pipeline work, the absolute linchpin, is something called the event UID. The best way to think about it is like a unique digital fingerprint for the event. It's one single ID that the system uses to track every single update and response, making sure nothing ever gets lost.
So the whole system actually has 9 different APIs, but it really boils down to 3 core jobs. First, you've got the inbound processor. Think of it like the receptionist, grabbing the invite and cleaning it up. Then there's the outbound processor, which is like the mailroom, building a perfect invite to send out. And finally, you have the RSVP processor, which is basically the scorekeeper, tracking every single yes, no, or maybe.
So let's walk through the whole flow. An organizer sends an invite and includes that special email. The inbound processor immediately catches it, tidies up the data, and stores it, all tied to that unique event UID. Now, what happens if the time of the event changes? No problem. The organizer's calendar sends an update, the system sees that same UID, and it just updates the information it already has. Simple. Then the outbound processor builds a perfect, clean invite to send to everyone, while that RSVP processor just listens, waiting to log every single response that comes back.
Okay, that all sounds really clever in theory, but did it actually work? Let's take a look at the results and see if this big bet actually paid off.
And the numbers? Well, the numbers don't lie. The system has already processed 500,000 invites from 4,000 different organizers. So this isn't just some cool idea on a whiteboard. It's out in the wild, it's working, and it can definitely scale.
But here's the real bottom line. Does all this fancy tech actually get more people to commit? The answer is a huge yes.
The system gets a verified 22% RSVP rate. And when you compare that to a standard email marketing campaign, it's not even a fair fight. It just works better.
And this statement really just sums it all up, doesn't it? This is measurable, hard proof that the most effective way to get someone to your event is to get a spot on their personal calendar first. It's the ultimate confirmation.
So let's bring it all home. What's the big lesson we can take away from all this? It really comes down to this idea of stealth infrastructure.
So what do we mean by that? Well, it's when you use all this incredibly powerful new technology, serverless computing, multiple APIs, complex data processing, but you hide it all from the user. You let it do its magic behind the scenes using an interface that 1 billion people already know how to use. You're adding all this power, but you're actually removing complexity for the end user. Ultimately, this whole thing is a masterclass in choosing what users are familiar with over some shiny new custom design. It proves that sometimes the biggest, most impactful innovation isn't building something brand new, it's just taking the way people already do things and making it work perfectly every single time.
And this whole system, this whole sticky pipeline, leaves us with one last really fascinating thought. Think about all the data that RSVP processor is collecting. Not just if someone said yes, but when they said yes. When they changed their mind from maybe to no. What kinds of insights could you get if you had all that detailed timestamp data? What could you learn about how people commit to things? That's a whole lot more than just a head count. That's a powerful data set about human behavior.